New Mexico Bowl tonight from Albuquerque, SMU, and BYU. It's going to be crisp, clear, and cold. For more, here's Taylor McGregor.
Yeah, that means there's X factors in the game here tonight. Both altitude and temperature. Just north of 30 degrees here. Right at kick, expected to drop into the mid-20s as the game progresses. And we're in Albuquerque, one of the highest elevated major cities in the country. So SMU, they haven't played in a game where it was colder than 50 degrees at kick all season. Plus, they play a majority of their games in Dallas, and so a lot of their guys not familiar with playing at altitude. But for BYU, this is familiar territory, although we're still about 600 feet higher here in Albuquerque than in Provo. So it was really SMU that needed to adjust. They hydrated this week. A lot of their guys wore compression pants on the plane, and they have oxygen tanks down here on the sideline. We know fatigue and shortness of breath could be a factor when it comes to elevation, so pay attention to the way that both teams handle this here tonight, guys.
All right, Taylor, thank you. BYU won the toss. The Cougars under Kalani Sitake have elected to defer, so SMU will get the ball to get us started. Jake Oldroyd, product out of South Lake Carroll, in his final game with BYU, will kick it away. Brian Massey and Roderick Daniels Jr. back for SMU. And we are underway in Albuquerque. Through the back of the end zone and a touchback, and we get to see this high, like, wide open offense go under Rhett Lashley, led by Tanner Mordecai, who's top 10 in the country in passing touchdowns.
That's exactly what this SMU offense does. They throw the football around. They throw it deep. They throw it all over the yard. Deep outs, slants, go routes, you name it. Don't be surprised to see an early shot to Jordan Curley, the speedster, somewhere on this drive.
They're going to run it on first down. Tyler Levine takes it just shy of the 30, a pickup of 4. And John Nelson in on the stop for BYU.
Gotta love Tyler Levine. No one has better swagger in college football. He's got the cowboy collar, the spats, the forearm sleeves, and he runs the football hard.
Here's Austin Upshaw. Takes it for a gain of 4, and that'll set up 3rd and short now for SMU on their first possession. This is an SMU offense, 6th in the country in passing, 12th in total offense. Rhett Lashley is the play caller for SMU. Came from the Gus Malzahn tree as both a player and a coach. 3rd and short. Levine picks up the first down. Before we left the field tonight, Brock, you turned to Rhett and you said, give it to Levine every short yardage situation. I want to see that dude hammer.
Absolutely. I love the way Tyler plays the game. He plays it the right way. You can tell he's tough. He's physical. He's a weight room warrior.
He just doesn't have a shirt that fits.
He's a leader, man. I love his style, but you can see what SMU does, what Rhett Lashley learned from Gus Malzahn. This team is going to play fast and with tempo all night.
Roderick Daniels picks up a couple, and we've got a flag from this Sun Belt crew. Ted Pitts is our referee.
Personal foul, face mask, number 2 defense. That's a 15-yard penalty. It'll be added to the end of the run. First down.
That's on Ben Bywater, who's starting his 6th straight game at linebacker. BYU missing some key pieces on the defensive side, especially at the linebacker spot, but Bywater has been a regular. So into BYU territory thanks to the penalty.
It's going to be really interesting to see how SMU does at altitude playing with this up-tempo offense. We're going to find out where their conditioning sits early.
Reverse flea flicker, and they check down to Levine, who got the first touch on it, and he gets submarined after a pickup of about 8. What about the cold? I mean, you played for the Broncos. You've played in the cold. What kind of adjustment do you need to make as a quarterback?
Yeah, you learn early. When you grow up in Kalispell, Montana, you learn how to play football in cold weather. You know, it really does change the game. You find out a lot about a guy. You find out how much he loves it. When you get hit in cold weather, it's a little bit different than when it's 70, 80 degrees outside. You know, when you're throwing the football, it's different. The football's a little firmer. It's not as soft. You have less grip. Your hands are a little more slippery. So playing in elements like this, and then you add the elevation where the air is thinner and there's less precipitation, it definitely changes the game.
Mordecai wanted to go deep. Instead, checks down to Moochie Dixon. He picked up 10 on that one. Dixon is a Texas transfer. He's getting more opportunity with the loss of Tashi Rice out for this game. A first down picked up by SMU. And they'll keep it on the ground with Daniels. And Daniels spills forward and picks up 6.
Look at this tempo by SMU. They don't play around. As soon as the ball is done, as soon as the play is done, they're all running right to their positions. They're looking at the sideline. Tanner Mordecai doing a tremendous job at the quarterback position, getting everyone lined up. This is going to be a huge challenge for the Cougars defense today.
Dixon on the screen, and the first man got him as he bobbled it. Maybe a yard. They'll bring Levine back on the field now. What's the secret to the tempo success? Is now in the 10th play of the opening drive. They're looking at a 3rd and 3.
Watch for BYU to try to get SMU off track, bring pressure, cause some disruption in this drive.
Incomplete, trying to sneak one past, and the line didn't even move. Walk me through that play.
Looked almost like it was a free play. You know, there's times where the offensive line might have thought someone jumped there on the edge. They're taught, hey, snap the ball if you think someone went offsides, which is a free play. But it looked like BYU was able to get back before the ball was snapped. Free play didn't work out for SMU in their favor that time.
So SMU will try to close this opening drive with a field goal, a 36-yard attempt for Colin Rogers. Pardon me, officially 35. 15 of 19 on the season for Rogers. Got the distance, and it's good. And SMU able to cash in on the opening drive.
SMU wasting no time, getting into rhythm, playing with tempo. Tanner distributing the football around in the pass game. But also we saw a little bit out of SMU on that drive that we haven't seen this year. They were trying to establish a little bit of the run. They were balanced on that series with Tyler Levine. That's going to be something that will bode well tonight, especially as the temperature drop and if wind picks up at all.
An 11-play, 57-yard drive. Took less than 3 minutes off the clock. Mentioned the guys that are out for BYU. Here's some of the missing pieces, and maybe more offensive pieces missing, especially highlighted by Jaron Hall, their fantastic quarterback. Puka Nacua and Cody Epps, two very dangerous wide receivers, also out.
And that's just the notables that you're looking at right now. There's over 20 players for this BYU Cougar football team that played a lot of snaps this season that are not a part of this football game, whether it's out for injury, transferring, you know, hopping into the portal. So the BYU Cougars are definitely depleted. They have 5 linebackers that played this season that are not playing tonight.
Chance for a return now for Hobbs Nyberg. He's got elite speed, and he takes it past the 25. He's one of the guys that's been used in special teams. We might see him more on offense tonight with some of the missing pieces. So Soljay Maava-Peters, originally from Hawaii, played his last couple of seasons of high school ball in the D.C. area at St. John's, and he gets his first career experience tonight.
First career start. I'm really excited to see what this kid does. He's super talented, dual threat kid. A lot of people around the country who know him say, hey, think Jaden DeLora down at University of Arizona. Dual threat guy that can run. You can call quarterback runs that are designed for him, but he can also push the football down the field. Going to be a lot of fun to watch him in his first career start.
Christopher Brooks is the running back, and he'll ride him, and kept by the freshman, and Peters takes it for a first down. Soljay Maava-Peters with a 15-yard run. The question is always, how do you get a rookie quarterback comfortable on the first snap?
And that's exactly how you do it. I love that a quarterback run was called right out the gates. Either you get a big play or you take a hit early, which sometimes help you settle into the game.
It was a flag.
Personal foul, blocking below the waist, number 1 defense. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
That's Brandon Crossley, the senior Colorado State transfer. And he was right there on the edge as he took down Brooks after the fake.
You're not allowed to go below the knees anywhere outside of the tackle box. That was somewhat splitting hairs, but at the end of the day, Brandon Crossley made that block outside of the tackle box. That will be a 15-yard penalty all day.
Kalani Sitake played against SMU. He was a fullback the last time these two teams met in the Cotton Bowl years ago. Fake the jet sweep. They'll get it straight ahead to Christopher Brooks. And he's able to pick up 6 on first down. Both teams using a penalty to cross midfield on their opening possessions.
Christopher Brooks, running back, someone who's really come on these last couple weeks towards the end of the season. His last 2 games running for over 100 yards. Had a tremendous effort the final regular season of the game at Stanford.
Chase Roberts takes it for a first down.
See BYU coming with a little tempo of their own. BYU known to switch up tempos. They can go at almost like a warp speed. They can go at a no huddle, under control speed, but they can also huddle at times and really slow down the pace of the game. Where SMU, they just want to go fast all the time.
Alva Peters at quarterback, long history of great Hawaiian-born quarterbacks. And go double pass here, looking to go back to him, and it's blown up. Roberts pulled the ball back, and before he could make a play, he was taken down by Reed.
Credit Nelson Paul, defensive end for SMU, on stopping that. Looking to throw the football back to Alva Peters. Nelson Paul wasn't fooled for a second. He was there to cover the quarterback. Heads up play by the senior, who is the sack leader for the SMU Mustangs.
Well, Nelson Paul having him on the field is a big thing for SMU. I'm getting the details later, but he just flew back to town today after graduating. Decided to walk this morning on the hilltop and made it back in time to suit up. Hinckley Rapati is now in at running back. Fake to him. Alva Peters takes it himself, and he's able to pick up 11. We talked with Soldier Alva Peters yesterday, and he said, you know, one thing I have confidence in is I know I'm a good runner, and SMU knows that too. He's kind of a run-first guy.
Yeah, a little grin kind of popped up on his face when we started talking about quarterback runs. You could tell that's definitely what he's more comfortable with. But watching him in pregame warmups, he throws a great ball. He's very accurate. He's got great arm strength. So he's really going to be able to do it do it all for the Cougars once he settles into this game.
We also may see Cade Finnegan off the bench. He's more of a drop-back passer, but can also run a little bit. And the deep ball comes up short. Try to find a comeback route, but a flag on the play. Armani Johnson was defending Chase Roberts.
Armani Johnson there just tugging on Roberts. Looked like he held his hand, didn't allow him to come back to the football.
Pass interference, defense, number 5. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul with an automatic first down.
Anytime you grab a hold of the receiver like that and don't allow him to come back to the football, it's going to be an easy call for the officials. A lot of hand contact there as they were moving down the football field.
SMU held to a field goal on its opening possession. BYU trying to answer here. Neither one of these defenses has put up good numbers. This SMU defense 121st against the run this season. And a quarterback draw. Alva Peters inside the 10 and just short of the first down.
Love the play call by offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick, sending the running back in a pre-snap motion, which pulls one of the linebackers out of the box, which only leaves 5 defenders in the box. 5 offensive linemen versus 5 defenders. Great running lanes for Alva Peters, who you've seen already. Tremendous athleticism and can definitely make plays on his feet.
Already 36 yards on the ground for the BYU quarterback. 2nd and 2. And Christopher Brooks bounces to the outside and picks up the first down. I should have asked you this before we kicked off. But given the defensive struggles in the high-profile offenses, is this going to be a high-scoring game or less than the experts guessed?
Well, right now, the way these football teams are moving the ball, it looks like both are going to put up some points tonight. Brooks, as Alva Peters has a little handoff issue, gets the football back.
It's a loss of 3.
But with Alva Peters making his first career start, you would think BYU would try to slow down the football game, establish the run, take away some of the possessions that the SMU offense is used to having.
Yep.
But we're not seeing that right now. You're seeing BYU play with tempo, and I have a feeling some of that is it makes Alva Peters more comfortable. When you play up-tempo, there's less time for players to think. You just have time to react, and that's probably what he's used to doing coming out of high school.
After the 3-yard loss, 2nd and goal, and they'll run it with Brooks, and he gets those 3 back, and that'll set up 3rd down. Christopher Brooks is a transfer from Cal. He's originally from Oceanside, California. He's coming off of a 164-yard game against Stanford.
Brooks had a monster game against Stanford. I think the thing that's most impressive with me when I watch him on film, it's his pad level that he plays with. He plays low to the ground, gets his pads down, and when he makes contact, he keeps those legs driving, and he falls forward.
This will be the 10th play of the drive for BYU.
Keep an eye out in the slot at the top of your screen. Tight end number 83, Isaac Rex. A big-time target in the red zone for the Cougars.
SMU used a timeout.
Timeout.
Before
SMU.
the snap.
That's their first timeout.
And using a timeout on the opening drive may be a sign of what Rhett Lashley thinks about exactly how high or low scoring this game may end up. BYU looking at a 3rd and goal when we do, and Soljay Maiava-Peters running this offense has been run heavy early. Here's the issue with BYU's offense. They got ready to play this bowl game. Their starter's ankle injury not good enough to go. Jay Conover entered the transfer portal. He was number 2. Cade Finnegan then bumped to the number 2 quarterback, but he had an ankle injury that was lingering.
Yeah, it was this big carousel. Really, until last night, no one knew who was going to play quarterback for the BYU Cougars. Soljay Maiava-Peters obviously getting his first career start tonight. Cade Finnegan backing him up, who's very talented, transferred in from Boise State, throws a great football. He's athletic as well. But really, there was a quarterback shuffle all week long, no one knowing who was going to play tonight for the Cougars.
I'll tell you more about Finnegan. He's expected to play tonight, especially if they end up in a position where they need to throw the ball a little bit. Rapati will take it to the goal line. No, kept by Maiava-Peters and a pickup of 4.
I tell you what, you can see the athleticism in Soljay right there. The kid is quick. He's not afraid to keep the football. You can tell he's not shying away from contact. Big-time talent.
They're going to bring in jumbo package here, going for it on 4th and short.
And this is something BYU said to us last night. They felt like they could run the football with physicality into the end zone against this SMU football team. Be interesting to see here. Do they just pound it right at them, or do they do a little bit of reverse psychology? Maybe a bootleg, gets Soljay on the run so he has a run-pass option.
They haven't been good on 4th down this season. They've only converted 4 of them. In 23 attempts, it's 130th in the country. And BYU will use a timeout and talk about it. We'll take that one with them. BYU with the decision to make. Do they take the points, or do they try to pound it in, looking at a 4th and goal here on their first possession? He's going to go for it on the opening possession. 4th and goal for BYU.
I think it's a great call by Kalani. You got a quarterback making his first career start. You're on the 1-yard line. You know you're going to have to score points to beat SMU. Definitely go for this one.
Rapati is the running back. They brought in an extra fullback, and he keeps it and takes it in. Soljay Maiava-Peters caps his first drive in college with a go-ahead touchdown run.
You think the lights are too bright for Soljay? No chance. This kid's ready to play, making the most of his opportunity, taking it in himself, following Rapati. Great play design, great execution.
BYU able to use some clock on that drive. 5 minutes and 45 seconds to cap an 11-play drive that only featured 1 pass on that possession.
A lot of eye candy there created by coordinator Aaron Roderick. You got a speed sweep coming. You have to honor. You're faking the inside zone. You end up following him in as a lead blocker. A lot of moving parts there for the SMU defense to look at and create eye violations.
It's a flag on the play.
Number 6. That penalty's declined. Point for try is good.
Maiava-Peters with 5 carries for 40 yards on that touchdown drive. And he's the focus of today's clutch delivery, brought to you by Chipotle.
Soljay Maiava-Peters doing it all on that drive, using his legs, only put the ball in the air 1 time. It's his legs, though, that are dangerous, and we knew it coming into this game. Dual threat quarterback. You can see his speed, not afraid of contact. There's no chance this kid's sliding tonight. Caps off the drive, doing it himself, getting the Cougars in the end zone on their opening possession of the game.
Do you like the idea that they worked almost 6 minutes off the clock?
Absolutely. I think when you're playing a team like SMU, who's expecting somewhere probably between 12 to 14 possessions this game. They want to throw it around the yard. They want to play with tempo. If you can reduce those possessions down to 8, 9, 10 for SMU, that gets them out of their normal game plan.
Well, let's fast forward to Monday, the only bowl game on the schedule. Marshall finished its regular season winning 4 straight and 5 of 6, and they face a UConn team that's playing in a bowl game. Yeah, UConn is bowling for the first time since 2015. Jim Moore has done an amazing job in his first year. Our coverage of the Myrtle Beach Bowl begins at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN and the app.
How about Jim Moore this year? Going up to UConn, getting them bowl eligible in his first season. Tremendous job by Jim and the rest of his staff.
Second possession for Tanner Mordecai in SMU. He's averaging 5 yards of completion so far, and they'll keep it on the ground with Tyler Levine. And he's able to pick up 5. Levine is from Cedar Park, Texas. Started his college career. Was hoping to play at West Point. Spent a couple of years at the Army Prep School, but health issues kept him from suiting up there. Had to initially walk on at SMU before earning a scholarship. Here he is again. You know, some running backs are built like Formula One cars. Levine's kind of built like a Pontiac Bonneville.
He's a Mack truck is what he is. In fact, I think Tyler seeks out contact. You know, most running backs, they're looking to break through, get to the second level, make big plays. Tyler's almost seeking out someone to look to hit in the hole. Talking to his strength coach earlier today and yesterday at the kickoff luncheon, he just said, listen, this kid eats weights for breakfast. He loves the game. He works extremely hard and very physical.
2, Mordecai's going to scramble for it, and he slides forward for a first down on a gain of 11.
Talking about Soljay Maiava-Peters being able to run the football. Well, so can Tanner Mordecai, something he's done all season, rushing for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very athletic to go with the big arm.
Started his college career at Oklahoma. Was behind some great quarterbacks at OU, and then ended up transferring to the Hilltop. Wanting to go deep, and the comeback route is incomplete. Let's get you down to the field, and Taylor.
We want to be more aggressive. Ben Bywater, the linebacker at BYU, making it very clear to me this week that under Jay Hill, there's been a rejuvenation to bring the pressure. This is a team that was 130th in total sacks this year, but they said they practice a ton of different blitzes. They want to bring more pressure and be aggressive.
Well, Kalani Sitake had to revamp the defensive coaching staff. They pretty much fired everybody on that side at the end of the season. Mordecai scrambling, trying to stay behind the line. It got so bad during the season that after the Arkansas game, about a third of the way through, Sitake said, why don't I just take over play calling defensively? And they've brought pressure at times, Brock. They just haven't been able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, certainly. And Kalani Sitake said, he goes, listen, being aggressive is naturally in my blood. So he wants to get up. He wants to play some press man coverage. He wants to bring different blitz packages. He wants to challenge receivers, tight ends, try to confuse quarterbacks, and bring the hits.
They brought 3 that time, but from a different direction. And the 3rd and 10 is completed on the edge to Jordan Curley. That's a 19-yard completion to move the chain.
How about that throw by Tanner Mordecai? That's an NFL-level throw. That's the deep out to the field. Tanner did a tremendous job, had great footwork, put the ball where only his guy could make a play on it. Great route by Jordan Curley, and way to deliver by Tanner Mordecai.
And then Levine takes it for 5 on first down. SMU a little shaken up on the offensive line at the tail end of that play. Looked like left tackle Marcus Bryant was slow to his feet, but he stays in. They stick with the tempo. Here's Levine. Huge hole for Tyler Levine, and he takes it to the 25. A first down for the Mustangs.
How about that right tackle? Owen Condon for SMU, just clearing a huge hole in there for his running back. Gonna fit a F-150 through that hole.
Kamar Wheaton now in a running back as SMU goes with the pistol. Wheaton's an Alabama transfer. They'll counter look, and he's got it through another huge hole, and he takes it inside the 15. We're starting to see why that BYU defense fell apart in the middle of the season.
BYU's definitely had some defensive struggles this year. They've really struggled getting pressure on the quarterback, struggled stopping the run. You can see SMU really taking advantage of all things right now. But as you talk to BYU this week, their players said, listen, we want to play man-to-man. We want to get up, press, challenge receivers, make them earn their yards. Tonight, you've already seen a mixed bag. There's been a little bit of press, but there's also been some softer zone, and SMU's definitely taken advantage of it.
Extra tackle on the right side is Bryant. They run that way, and Wheaton gets bottled up, but picked up 2. Gabe Summers in on the stop for BYU.
Gabe Summers doing a great job getting Kamar Wheaton down there. If he didn't, there was a nice crease in there built by the offensive line, led by Branson Hickman at center for the SMU Mustangs. Big time tackle there by Gabe Summers.
Mustangs have already converted 2 third downs in this drive. They go 5 wide. They'll bring Daniels back next to Mordecai. To throw right to Daniels. Nice move, and he's in. Touchdown SMU. 9-yard touchdown from Mordecai to Daniels.
Tanner Mordecai just getting the ball out in space to his playmakers, letting Daniels do the rest. Ben Bywater, linebacker for BYU, had a chance to make the play, took a poor angle on the tackle, ended up getting burned there for the touchdown. And that's something that Kalani Sitake said to us yesterday. He said, listen, we're more focused on fundamentals right now than our scheme, and you can see why right there.
Extra point is good. An 11-play drive on the first possession, a 12-play drive on the second, and Tanner Mordecai ties an SMU record with another touchdown, his 32nd through the air this season. Tanner Mordecai is now responsible for 75 touchdowns in his SMU career. That is first, and he's tied with Ben Hicks for passing touchdowns with 71 after hooking up with Roderick Daniels Jr. Give SMU its second lead of the game. Both teams have scored on each of their possessions. And no return here for BYU, but we will see the return of Soljay Maiava-Peters. Taylor, what did you see from the youngster on the sideline?
Well, he barely had any time to sit on the bench. Just about everyone on the sideline came up, gave him a high five. He was standing on the offensive side of the sideline, and someone had to point to the phone and say, hey, you still have to go talk to the coaches up in the booth. And then after that, he was just hanging on the sideline. You could tell he was antsy to get back out there. He just was able to sit on the bench here for about 5 seconds, take a deep breath. You can tell he's confident, but also super antsy to get back out there.
I'm sure his emotions are running high. First career start. You've set the alarm clock at 5 a.m. for so many weight room sessions, conditioning sessions. You put in the work. You can't wait for this opportunity, but the key is take a deep breath, stay in the moment, focus on one play at a time, forget about what's already happened, and focus on the next play.
Christopher Brooks is his running back. Pressure coming from the edge. Brooks goes straight ahead and gains a few. You know, when he was being recruited by BYU, the sell wasn't to Maiava-Peters so much. It was to his mom's side of the family. They're big University of Utah fans. So Kalani Sitake had to sell his maternal grandfather on the idea that BYU was a spot for him. His uncle Nai Fotu as well, big big Utah guy. He said once Kalani met with my grandpa and kind of cleared the air and said BYU's the place for me to be. Well, there's a no-brainer. Then I ended up there. Met his wife in Provo. His wife is down here on the trip with him. The only thing not going well for him this week is his infant son is a little bit under the weather and back home in Provo. So they'll remember this one for a long time. Little sidearm out to the slot, and that'll go for a pickup of 4. First catch for Braden Cosper.
Maiava-Peters ending up at BYU is a great story. You could tell last night, he kind of smiled. He said, hey, listen, my mom really didn't want me to go here. And we go, well, how did you end up here? And he goes, well, coach called my grandfather called my mom, and at the end of the conversation, I was a BYU Cougar.
Simple as that. Cosper with his first catch and what will be his final game as a Cougar. Kind of a star-crossed run for Cosper, who had to deal with injuries throughout his entire career. Now 3rd and 5.
Watch SMU to bring some pressure on the young quarterback here.
They roll Maiava-Peters out. He connects, but taken down short of the marker is Cosper. Great play by Brandon Crossley, and that will leave 4th and less than 1.
Good play call there by Aaron Roderick. Really aware that he's got a first-time starter in there at quarterback. Really trying to make him comfortable. You can tell Myava Peters is comfortable outside of the pocket.
Are you surprised they're leaving the offense on the field on 4th down at the 35-yard line?
I'm not. They know their opponent. They know the SMU Mustangs. They score at will. They put up a lot of points. They put up 77 against Houston. They know they're in a shootout tonight.
And they go with the QB sneak. You know, we showed the 1980 game between these two programs back in the Holiday Bowl. Famously, in that game, Jim McMahon had to convince LaBelle Edwards to leave the offense on the field and go for it on a 4th down. They converted that. Yada, yada. They end up winning the thing at the buzzer.
Listen, college football has just changed. It's at a point now where you have to score points for the most part to win games. BYU recognizes that. They're going to have to be aggressive tonight.
Each team has scored on each possession tonight. SMU with a 10-7 lead on BYU. Soldier Myava Peters taking it in to cap the first BYU possession, and then already up 3. SMU went to the air to take its second lead behind Tanner Mordecai. We're back after this message and our word from our ABC stations. And in a candle, it is beautiful here in the land of enchantment. First down for BYU. And their first-time starter at quarterback, Soldier Myava Peters. It's a starter as a freshman at Kahuku High School in Hawaii. And a highly touted recruit. They go with the jet sweep. And this is Parker Kingston who gets taken down. Taylor, it's been a really busy week for this SMU coaching staff.
So busy to the point where they were late putting together a game plan because there was so much recruiting with the early signing day period. And so Jimmy Phillips telling me that a majority of the game plan is just getting back to basics defensively. We always talk about how bowl games give teams a chance to really prepare for next season, and defensively is an area they want to improve. So they really want to be good in their base and tackle really well.
Red Lashley, the only coach ever nominated for the Broyles Award at 4 different schools. First chance to be a head coach now at SMU. Inkler Rapati gets taken down, maybe a gain of 1. It's stopped by Nick Roberts at the tail end of that one.
Great job by Rapati, just getting back to the line of scrimmage, possibly gaining a yard. Could have easily been tackled for a loss, but he was not going to go down easy. Very strong, physical runner. You can see some quicks in him. Great job getting back to the line of scrimmage. Sometimes the biggest key as a running back is don't make a bad play worse. A lot of times you're not going to have the perfect play. Someone's going to run through the line. Don't make it worse. Get back to the line of scrimmage. Keep it third and manageable.
Going to swing him out again, and he finds Rapati, but no gain. And the SMU defense, led by Shannon Reed, senior transfer from Illinois State, with a big stop. And that'll force our first punt of the night.
And you can see right now where BYU's going to have issues. Unless they're in 3rd and short and they have the option to run the football on 3rd down, you can tell they're not quite ready to get Myava Peters in the drop back game and push the football down the field to convert 3rd downs.
Ryan Rico to punt it away. And this is a stinger, and Roderick Daniels Jr. chased all the way to the end zone, and he wants to bring it out. Gets to the 10, and face mask was what spun him around and made it out to the 15. They'll add 15 on that one. A 61-yard punt. That was an absolute rocket from Rico.
That's the classic play right there where the SMU coach says, no, 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 let the ball go, let the ball go. And then after the face mask in return, you're like, hey, good decision. You got some good field position.
Not so bad. Net positive.
Personal foul, face mask, kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
12:48 to go in the second quarter. We'll bring you back to chilly Albuquerque after this timeout. Game of college football when Mike Leach passed away last week. He coached in this bowl game with Washington State in 2013. But more so than just one game, Brock, he was a guy that defined college football. He lived it. He has ties to both of these programs, especially to BYU. He was a graduate of BYU. He met his wife, Sharon, at BYU. He played rugby at BYU, and he picked up up a lot of the air raid principles from Lavelle Edwards and Norm Chow and Roger French and what they ran back in the day. SMU will keep it on the ground here with a sweep, and they're able to pick up 10 yards. In fact, Leach was still tight with the BYU rugby team when they played the national championship game in Palo Alto in 2009. He flew out there to watch the rugby team.
Mike Leach was an incredible man. He was one-on-one. He was a trailblazer. College football was better because of Mike Leach, someone that's going to be dearly missed.
And I know it's going to be missed by you. You guys had late-night conversations, talking ball, talking life. What was that about?
We did. I had the great fortune and great honor to get to know Mike at a very close level the last couple years. We spent a lot of Saturday nights. In fact, just one a couple of weeks ago after he played in the Egg Bowl, and we'd have some great late Saturday night conversations talking about everything from football to Pirates and life and everything else under the sun. But I tell you what, there was always a lot of belly laughs, a lot of great humor. We'd get some three-way calls going with other former players that he coached. And very, very special memories that I will cherish dearly for the rest of my life.
I mean, you can look at the numbers, but that doesn't really define Mike Leach. That's just a graphic. It was him as a person and the many lives that he touched. And it was so fun, and I use that word on purpose, so fun to see how many people of varying backgrounds that he reached throughout his life, and the mechanism that he used to reach them was college football. Mordecai pressured, and a huge sack gets taken down. They haven't had a whole lot of pressure, success with pressure, but that time John Nelson throws down Mordecai for a loss of 12.
Listen, Mike was unbelievable. He was one-on-one. He's going to be dearly missed. College football will not be the same without him. Our condolences to Sharon and the rest of the family.
Mordecai, after a quick snap, trying to run it on third down, and he gets taken down just past the line of scrimmage. You know, one last thought on Mike Leach as it pertains to BYU. He was given some interviews around their program a couple of years ago when they matched up in Provo, and he said, yeah, I would go to Sharon's apartment. She was a student at BYU. He goes, every time I walked in, she had MASH on. Who wants to watch MASH or Saturday Night Live when Gunsmoke is on? So I'd always change the channel to Gunsmoke, and that is what a good red-blooded American would prefer to watch at all times.
You know what? Sharon is an incredible woman. Listen, she would make him a sandwich almost every night at 3 a.m. when he was watching film in his room, in his chair. I think we all love our wives more than anything in the world, but I don't know if my wife's waking up at 3 a.m. to make me a sandwich. Sharon's one of a kind as well.
SMU forced to punt it away. And that'll take us to a break after a 43-yard punt. Condolences to the Leach family and all of us in college football. Going to miss the Pirate. And even rattlesnakes, turquoise, the state gem of New Mexico, and of course the signature color of the Southwest. Nelson Paul on the sideline for SMU, and he's had a very busy day. Made it thanks to a commercial flight this afternoon after bouncing back and forth between Albuquerque and Dallas. Wanted to get back in time for his graduation, and Rhett Lashley and the coaching staff gave him permission to do so. So he was here throughout the week and then flew back yesterday afternoon with so many of his family members in town. Maeva Peters on the run, and he finds his tight end. It's Isaac Rex, who rumbles to near midfield, a pickup of 27.
That's how you get a young quarterback settled into the passing part of this football game. Get him on the move. Let him get familiar with Isaac Rex, the big tight end, 6'6", 250. Still deciding if he's going to enter the NFL draft or come back for another season. Big-time target for the Cougars.
And that one goes incomplete. Trying to find Keanu Hill. Here's what the itinerary looked like for Nelson Paul, senior out of Florida. Got to Albuquerque Wednesday, Friday some practice, went back to Dallas. And Taylor, there's a really good reason why it was so important for him, and you see him with all of his family in the picture, to walk at graduation this morning.
When you have 16 family members flying in from Haiti to be at the graduation ceremony, you're at the ceremony. Among of his teammates who were also graduating just had a ceremony at the hotel, but it was important for him to be there to celebrate it with his family. So congratulations to him.
They keep it on the ground with Christopher Brooks. And listen, SMU didn't know what their bowl date was going to be. They made plans to fly in from Haiti, and they booked their flights months ago. So when the bowl date came upon it, Nelson Paul had luckily coaches who were understanding and said, yeah, this is important for you, important for your family.
I have a ton of respect for Nelson Paul. Give him a lot of credit. In the day and age of NIL, transfer portal, who's going to give me what, to see this kid focused on graduating, getting his degree, honoring the promise he made to his family, flying back for graduation, and putting that at the forefront this week. Tip of the cap to Nelson Paul. Very cool.
BYU hasn't converted a third down tonight. Iava Peters pressured by Paul and chases him and lost chase on him. Picked up the first down. Just won that foot race.
Are you kidding me? Look at that athleticism. Soldier Iava Peters should have been tackled for a loss. Freezes the defense. Nelson Paul finds a way to get around the corner. Nelson Paul is in perfect position to make the play. Kind of dead legs him, gets Nelson to freeze. He makes it look easy picking up the first down.
Perhaps the sheepskin slowed him down?
I tell you what, that kid has a lot of athleticism down there. Ton of fun to watch. He's off to a fast start in his first career start for the Cougars.
They motion Rex over. Iava Peters is 5 of 6 on the night, only missing that one deep ball. Goes sidearm again, and he's able to hook up with Cosper. Gain of 4, second catch of the night for Cosper, who decided, you know what, my body and my mind are both done with football. Decided this would be his final game, even though he has another year coming. He was one of the headliners of the 2016 recruiting class with Zach Wilson. Freshman year, tore his ACL. Then he tore his meniscus. Then he had a microfracture. Missed a year with a broken wrist last year. It's been a heck of a ride for Braden Cosper, who's playing in just his 17th game as a Cougar tonight. They motion out Rapati, go to him behind the line of scrimmage, and he's able to carry it for 3.
That's just a simple bubble screen outside to the running back Rapati, just trying to get the ball in a playmaker's hand out in space. Almost think of it as like a punt return. Doing a great job getting into 3rd and manageable. And this is really where Soldier is going to have to make his hay tonight. He's going to have to find a way to convert 3rd downs through the air. You're kind of in a situation where you're in almost 4-down territory now, so you do have the option to run the football. I would assume if they don't pick it up here, they will go for it on 4th down. Wouldn't be surprised to see a run.
1 for 4 on 3rd downs tonight. They'll run it off tackle, and that'll give them a first down.
No need for the 4 downs. Just pick it up on 3rd.
It's a pickup of 6.
Great job by Rapati. Hole was open right away on the inside zone play. Zero hesitation, hit the hole, understood what he needed to do on that play, and that was pick up the first down. Zero hesitation by Hinckley Rapati.
Rapati has really turned it on late. Majority of his carries coming in the last 3 games. He had been slowed down with some fumble issues earlier in the season. They motion him out, empty the backfield. Pressure! And somehow he evaded it. And now just throws it away. Iava Peters had Jalen Samuels in his face, who somehow missed the sack.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Number 1 was in the area.
Great job by Iava Peters, evading the sack there. And there you go. There's the rookie mistake. SMU brought a zone blitz to the field, dropped the defensive end to the boundary. Young quarterback had no idea it was coming, looked left initially, but to his credit and his athleticism, did a great job getting out of the sack, getting the football away, and keeping it 2nd and 10.
2nd and 10 behind sophomore center Connor Pay, who's got a lot of protection responsibilities, but said there's some plays I can't help him on. There's a little option pitch and not much doing. We're talking with Connor yesterday, just as enjoyable a meeting you'll have with a player. And he said there are times where within our offense, I can't make the check for him. I'll just turn my head and say, hey, the pressure's coming from over there, brother.
Well, and 2 plays ago, that would have been a time to move the protections. SMU on that pass play brought an overload to the field. That's one where you need to turn the entire offensive line from the left tackle, left guard, all the way out to the field if you're going to pick it up, because the defensive end of the boundary was dropping. It's going to be very difficult for a rookie quarterback making his first career start to see that. But if Connor Pace sees that throughout the night, don't be surprised to see him make a check.
The play action. Alva Peters scrambles, makes a man miss, and bounces to the outside. An electric run for the freshman, picking up 12 and a first down.
How about this kid making his first career start? These lights aren't too bright. He's out here making plays, having fun. You can tell he's extremely confident with his legs. If he gets any pressure or his first read's not open, you can see what he's going to do. He's going to tuck the football. He's going to go make a play for his team. Bringing a lot of excitement to this football game early on.
7 of 9 through the air. He's carried it for 60 yards and a touchdown. And now this, the 11th play of the drive. Alva Peters pressured again, steps away again, and gets forward. So does SMU need to rethink the pressure because of his legs?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, you have to have lane responsibility. You have to have gap discipline. You can't give up those deals. But what I'm most impressed with right now is Soljay's discipline. Just right there on that last pass play, nobody was open downfield. They tried selling the quick screen to the outside, tried hitting some verticals down the sideline. SMU did a tremendous job of covering up the skill guys. A lot of young guys are going to force that football. Soljay did the next best thing, tucked it, picked it up, got some positive yards for his football team.
2nd and 8. This is Brooks off tackle. And a gain of 4. Shannon Reed in on the stop.
Little weak side counter play there by BYU. BYU really makes their hay, makes their living on the inside and outside zone run schemes, but their counter punch is the weak side counter play. They have 2 very big and athletic offensive tackles, one 6'6", 325. The other, Blake Freeland, the All-American on the other side at 6'8", 305. Guys can move in space. The counter play has been very successful for the BYU Cougars this last month or so.
Cougars didn't convert a 3rd down before this drive. Now they've converted 3 of them on this possession alone. Alva Peters fires in zone. And just short, trying to find Roberts. Skipped it into him.
Alva Peters had the wide open receiver in Roberts. He was on the back line. SMU lost them in their 3-deep zone. Did not track Roberts. It's going to probably be the easiest layup throw Alva Peters will have of the night. Just one that kind of got away from him. Roberts still had a chance to make the play. One that he needs to pick up for his quarterback making his first career start. But knowing a quarterback's mindset, I'm sure that's one Soljay wished he would have just put on his face mask. Made it a little bit easier for Chase Roberts.
31-yard attempt for Jake Oldroyd. The game winner against Arizona State in 2016. Kalani Sitake's first game as BYU's head coach. And he drills that one to tie it up. 3:34 remaining in the first half in Albuquerque at the New Mexico Bowl. SMU 10, BYU 10 after a 14-play drive. In playoff scenario, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN and ABC, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus. The Manning Cast, your old teammate, is on ESPN2. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6. How come he hasn't had you on the Manning Cast yet?
I'm not entertaining enough. I wouldn't fit.
You need more energy?
But I tell you what, I think it's a ton of fun. My wife and I love watching that on Monday nights.
If you love hearing from quarterbacks, here's Tanner Mordecai mic'd up.
The catch. Go. Let's turn. Let's go, man. Hey, one last opportunity together. Man, last one with you. I love you. Let's go. Hey, let's go, 13. Last one together, man. Let's make it special. Let's go. One last one with you, buddy. I love you. Let's go, man.
Mordecai going deep on first down and too strong for Moochie Dixon. It's been a windy road for Mordecai out of Waco, Texas, who was 24-1 as a high school starter. And if you look how quarterbacks end up at their schools these days, it is can get convoluted. Cam Rising was originally committed to Oklahoma. He flipped to Texas shortly after Lincoln Riley visited Tanner, trying to get him interested in Oklahoma. He committed to the Sooners. Shortly thereafter, after that, Bob Stoops would retire. That's how long it's been since he started his college career. Ended up at Oklahoma behind some superstar quarterbacks and never got the opportunity. And we said, well, what was it that brought you to SMU? He said, I just wanted to play. And they'll use a timeout here. Well, to illustrate some of the guys that he was in competition with in Norman when we bring you back to Albuquerque in the New Mexico Bowl, tied at 10 apiece.
Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagani here with you. Deion Sanders' final game at Jackson State goes into overtime, and we saw something from Fresno State we've never seen before.
Start 1-4 to win 9 in a row, and then also, how about the Satterfield Bowl was outstanding?
Yeah, and the teams right on either side. He could have stood right in between the teams on the same sideline. He stayed up in the box. Highlights coming your way. We'll see you at the half. Tom, back to you.
All right, Kevin, thanks. What a trio in the studio. They've had a fun day of games. That Celebration Bowl was absolutely thrilling. Jackson State tied it with zeros on the clock to send it into overtime. Then had a chance to tie it again. Bless his heart. Tight end dropped it in the end zone. Shades of Jackie Smith for the old folks. There's another solid run for SMU. Kamar Wheaton. And SMU's going to go tempo, and the O-line rushing up to the line of scrimmage.
Left guard Jill Beisinger with a huge block on that zone play there.
So we were talking a moment ago, he's going to be just short, and it's going to leave fourth down about the quarterback carousel that ended up with Mordecai going to Oklahoma. Cam Rising initially committed to Texas, ends up obviously at Utah, and then Mordecai stuck behind 3 studs in Norman. 4th and 1, and they're going to go for it. Levine. That was easy. Finds the first down. Needed 1. Got 5.
Never a doubt Levine was going to get that football. Little split zone there.
Those are some pretty stiff competitors with Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, and Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, a few talented guys there that he was sitting behind up in Norman. I think you can understand why he transferred down to SMU. At some point, you just have to get on the field and start playing.
That pass tip. He's been around some great quarterbacks. When he was at Midway High School in Waco, they had a guy show up to run the scout team who was kind of taking a gap year in college. His name was Jarrett Stidham. He ran the Midway scout team quarterback, scout team as quarterback. And Tanner said, yeah, we talk all the time. And he's so encouraging to me to keep my head up, to keep doing what I'm doing, and to keep putting up big numbers. And he certainly has. School record points responsible for. Kamar Wheaton with a 5-yard gain that time.
I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with the SMU Mustangs and their offensive line and their running backs. They're really asserting themselves in this first half in the run game. Coming in, SMU threw the football around the yard, right? They're 6th in the nation in passing yards per game, but tonight, altitude, cold weather, a little breeze in the stadium, they recognize that they're also going to have to be able to run the football. And behind that big offensive line, they're doing a tremendous job.
18 of their 32 offensive plays have been on the ground. The mesh route. Mordecai batted away again. Gabe Summers got his big paw on that one. The walk-on tackle forces a 4th and 5, excuse me.
Tough sledding there for Tanner Mordecai. Not a lot of options. SMU was running a mesh rub play, which is designed for man-to-man coverage. The BYU Cougars were playing a zone coverage. The only throw he really had was about a 20-yard out to the field. I don't think Tanner saw it. Very difficult when you're running a man concept versus zone defense.
Ryan Buchevsky to punt it away. Hobbs Nyberg, former BYU baseball player, to receive. And a flag on the play. Nyberg takes it inside the 15. That was a 41-yard punt, and we got some pushing and shoving and Christmas greetings after the punt. Sun Belt Conference crew. Flag was thrown on the near side.
During the current kick, personal foul, face mask, receiving team. That ball will be placed half the distance from the spot into the kick. It'll be first down.
Tuesday, we keep on bowling with 2 more games on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the app. Eastern Michigan takes on San Jose State in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl on the blue turf of Albertson Stadium at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. And with Hugh Freeze gone for the Plains, it's Josh Aldridge taking over Liberty against dual threat quarterback Daquan Finn in Toledo. The MAC champs in the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific.
Isn't bowl season just great? It doesn't matter what day it is, almost what time it is. You just turn on the TV and there's a football game on. I wish it was like that year-round.
It's pretty good. It's like opening a Christmas present every day.
It's outstanding. You don't know what you're going to get. It's always a surprise. Usually there's shootouts. It's a lot of fun this time of year if you're a football fan.
1:22 left in the half. Soldier Maiava-Peters 7 of 10 through the air. We thought we'd see Cade Fennegan at some point, but no reason to go to the backup. They go to Christopher Brooks here on first down. He picks up 5.
I think it's a good decision by Kalani Sitake and the rest of his staff to keep Soldier in the game. Yes, Fennegan can throw the football down the field. Tight zip, good ball. But Soldier's in rhythm now, making his first career start. He's made plays with his legs, made a few plays with his arm. Don't get the young quarterback out of rhythm. Now, if he has a hiccup at some point in the game and you want to get Fennegan some reps, get him out there, push the ball a little bit down the field with your play action game, I get it. But right now, with the hot hand, don't take him out of the game.
By the way, those are some sick helmets. You like the Sailor Cougar?
I think they're outstanding. I love them.
Maiava-Peters under center this time. And it goes straight ahead. And Brooks picked up the first down with a second effort.
Great job on the split inside zone play there by the BYU Cougars. That's really their bread and butter. They want to run inside zone, they want to run outside zone, and then they want to get under center with their quarterback, go play action off of it, and either take a shot down the field, hit a deep in cut, hit some crossers. And that's really how this offense flows. It's almost like a pro-style system.
Well, that's the end of the first half. Not as high scoring as some expected it to be. Some long drives by both teams, including a 7-minute, 14-play drive for BYU to tie the score at 10. SMU's also run some clock relative to what they usually do, including a 12-play, 75-yard drive to get their lone touchdown. But the story of the game, Soldier Maiava-Peters getting his first start, 7 of 10 through the air for 47 yards. And on the ground, he's averaging 7 yards a carry and punched it in for BYU's lone touchdown. Kalani Sitake kind of joked he didn't know who was going to be at quarterback. We know now, and it seems obviously enough that it's going to be his game the rest of the way. Let's get down the field along with the BYU head coach. Here's Taylor McGregor.
Thank you, Coach. What have you thought of the way Soldier is playing in his first career start?
Yeah, he's playing great. I mean, that's how he's practiced, and so you know, want him to just keep having fun, let loose.
In which situation would we see Fennegan in the second half?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I trust our offensive staff, and so you know, Soldier's playing well. Cade's ready with his numbers called, and we might see him. I don't know.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Tom?
Well, the defense is playing better than their resumes would have shown coming into this game. Just 20 points total at the half. We are tied at 10. We'll return with more of the New Mexico Bowl after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Tonight in chilly New Mexico, temperatures down into the upper 20s. Welcome, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Brock Osweiler, Taylor McGregor down on the field. The defenses have been much better than advertised, and as they perform throughout the course of the season, what have you learned from each offense so far tonight?
Well, BYU is doing exactly what we thought they were going to do. They were going to try to establish physicality early and run the football. I've been extremely impressed with Soldier Maiava-Peters making his first career start. He's very poised. He's making great decisions with the football and running the football at a very high level. level. But the really surprising thing is when you look at SMU, and we knew that they were a high-flying offense that threw the football all over the yard, coming in 6th best passing attack in the country. But tonight, they're adjusting to the climate. It's a cold night. There's a little breeze going through the stadium. And what's been most impressive is the run game with Tyler Levine and Kamar Wheaton having a tremendous first half behind that big offensive line. Now, Tanner Mordecai, a quarterback, has been very efficient. He went 9 for 15 in the first half, but only 64 yards. You're used to seeing SMU push the football down the field, throw the go route, throw the post, where they've been very balanced thus far in the first half.
And you thought the weather may have a role in their play calling. We'll learn more about that in a moment. But first, let's look at today's performance update prepared by TaxAct.
Tyler Levine running the football tonight, extremely physical, lowering his shoulder, bringing the boom, and then Kamar Wheaton, the transfer from Alabama, freshman, being very efficient in the first half, 6 carries for 30 yards. Levine right at 5 yards a carry, and then on the flip side with BYU, you have Soljay Maiava-Peters making his first career start, really playing a tremendous first half. You can tell the lights are not too bright for him. He's thrown the ball away when it's not there. He's made play after play with his legs, got his team in the end zone on their first possession of the game. Really looking like he's going to be the next big-time quarterback for the BYU Cougars.
He throws it away on first down. Back to the field. Here's Taylor.
The problems begin when Soljay begins to scramble. That is what Brett Lashley told me at the half. He said we have to do a better job of containing him when he begins to scramble. Now, as for them offensively, he said, I really like the way we're rushing the football. They're playing a lot of drop 8, so it's making it really hard for us to push the football down the field. But if we can keep up the run game, he feels confident in what his offense has been able to do so far.
This is one of those football games where I really think you do need to lean on your run game as the temperature drops down into the 20s. Definitely makes it more difficult for quarterbacks, receivers to connect on throws down the field. If you're going to win this ball game, you're going to have to keep the ground game going.
And that ground game is bottled up with Christopher Brooks, who ends up with just 2. Not only is the game tied at 10, but the stats are generally even. Total yards, $137. First downs, 11. Total plays, 33. Identical.
Only thing that's a little different is the time of possession, and that's just because SMU plays so fast. They didn't change their tempo one time. They went as fast as they possibly could. They were in warp speed the entire time, where BYU slowly started changing up their tempos. They were going fast. They would slow it down. They huddled at times, really mixing it up.
Soljay Maiava-Peters making his first collegiate appearance in this game tonight. He keeps it around the edge. On third down, he's able to pick up 5. This is a BYU team that was led over the course of the season by Jaron Hall, who injured his right ankle against Stanford. Aaron Roderick, the offensive coordinator, said Jaron wanted badly to play in this. Kalani Sitake said it's our duty as coaches to protect our players, and we don't feel like there was much for him to gain. He didn't have much time to practice, which he'd done a couple of times over the course of the season to varying degrees of success.
Interesting play call there by Aaron Roderick. 3rd and long, calling a zone read play. Defensive end crashes. Soljay keeps it and runs. That's one where you'd like to see the drop back pass game get involved and really try to pick up that first down.
Rico again boomed another one. And that one was taken all the way inside the 5. That was a 65-yard punt from Ryan Rico. The college football playoff semifinals are Saturday, December 31st on ESPN and the ESPN app. Number 2, Michigan takes on number 3, TCU in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl at 4 Eastern, noon Pacific. Then it's number 1, Georgia, and number 4, Ohio State in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. The winners will play Monday, January 9th on ESPN.
I'd be surprised if I did not see a shot play by the SMU offense somewhere early on this first possession of the second half. SMU was top 15 in the country this season in explosive plays of 20 yards or more.
Brett Lashley upset with the line judge. He thinks the ball should have been in the middle of the field. Instead, they spotted it on the left hash. Mordecai has to scramble and go to a slide. And now he's all over the white hat about that. Why is that so important to an offensive coordinator?
Well, it matters how you're trying to set up a play. There's a lot of times you only call plays if the ball's in the middle of the field. And you only call a play if it's on the left hash or right hash. And so you almost have a feeling that Rhett Lashley drew up something at halftime and he had the perfect play call, and that's why you see the frustration coming. He really wanted that football in the middle of the field.
They're able to swing it out. No gain that time to Kamar Wheaton. Tanner Mordecai is a quarterback who likes to throw right more than any other direction. Now, big reason for that is that they had Tashi Rice generally lined up on the right side, but they're missing him in this game. That's 31% of their catches on the season. Pressure coming. Mordecai hit, and it's incomplete. And the BYU defense with a big stop on SMU's opening drive of the half. Jacob Robinson got to him. So, yeah, if your favorite receiver always lines up on the right side, numbers are going to be higher there, but also dictated a lot of times with the preference to have the ball at a certain hash mark.
Yeah, I don't pay a lot of attention to those numbers. Sometimes things like that just shake out because they do. You know, I'm sure Tanner Mordecai, like any other quarterback, he has his reads, he has his progressions, and it might have just so happened that some of those throws ended up going more to the right than any other place this season. So I have a feeling Tashi Rice was lined up on the right side of the field for the SMU Mustangs this season.
Nyberg takes a fair catch, 42-yard punt. We have traded punts to start the second half. SMU and BYU tied at 10. And SMU, BYU tied at 10. Here's what the last 5 drives have looked like for BYU. End of the half and the punt last time. It was a 3rd and 9 zone read call. What do you think about the job that Soljay Maiava-Peters has done tonight at quarterback?
You know, I think Soljay has done a tremendous job. He's really played poised. He's made great decisions. He's had great command of this offense. The one thing I do think BYU's going to need to do in the second half, if they're going to get the results that they want, they need to get into the drop back game if they find themselves in 3rd and long and let Soljay make some plays down the field.
Pressure from the edge. They run right to that spot. Maiava-Peters has a first down into SMU territory at an 18-yard scramble.
And that's what Soljay wants to do. He wants to run the football. And right there, he's just reading the linebackers. He's riding that running back. And if the linebackers bump out with the running back on the wide zone play, then Soljay is going to keep the football up the middle. If the linebackers stay home, Soljay will give it to the running back to capture the edge. That is Soljay's game. He wants to run first, throw second, which is great as long as you stay ahead of the sticks.
Soljay 7 of 11 through the air for 47 yards to this point. Pressure from the edge again. He's got time. They pick everybody up, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Shannon Reid. Reid's second pick of the season.
The first mistake by Soljay Maiava-Peters. Perfect play call by Aaron Roderick. Got his quarterback on a little half roll where he's comfortable. Soljay had the freshman, Kingston Parker, the speedster, with world-class track speed for a post over the top for a touchdown. Soljay missed the read, forced it underneath.
Now, at the end of this interception, he fumbled it. The ball never went out of bounds. He did. And then he came back in and recovered it. And club takeaway is bumping now. 3 yards on first down for Tyler Levine. It's an SMU team that's been great in the takeaway department over the course of the season. And they're going to try to take advantage of the game's first mistake.
Yeah, both ball teams have really played a clean game until that last turnover by Maiava-Peters. Credit both teams, but that was a big momentum shift.
Pitch to Levine, finds the edge, runs through an arm tackle, and he takes it past midfield. That's a 14-yard gain.
Sataki talking to us yesterday about his BYU Cougar defense, just saying we want to get back to fundamental defense, something that we really stressed in bowl practice. You've seen the BYU Cougars take some poor tackling angles in this football game.
Levine taken down after a gain of 2. Taylor.
BYU defense, Tom, super excited on the sideline after their opening series. Felt like they really set the tone here in the second half. Said, let's go out and repeat that series again and again. Brock, what was it that stood out for that first series?
2nd and 8. And they're able to run it with Roderick Daniels. It's a BYU defense missing a lot of players. And, oh, by the way, some staff members after the season finale against Stanford. This defensive staff was retooled. Jay Hill will be their new defensive coordinator. 9 years as a head coach at Weber State. But they fired the DC, the associate head coach, the D-line coach. The strength and conditioning staff is gone. And that has meant, as that first down is picked up, that they've had multiple analysts now coaching position groups over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, the BYU Cougar defense is really depleted as far as a coaching staff perspective goes. Only one assistant coach remains from the regular season. Really depleted on that side of the ball. But I do know this. I know the players, Kalani Sitake, the fans, they're very excited about defense coordinator Jay Hill coming in. His time at Weber State in 9 years, won 4 Big Sky Conference titles, got his team to the playoffs 6 times. Really going to bring in an aggressive branded defense, play a lot of man coverage, get up in the face of skill guys, and bring a lot of good pressure packages.
Ball came loose after the dump of the running back, and I don't think he was down. BYU says they've recovered it.
I agree. I don't think a knee was down. I think that ball is fresh out, and that is BYU Cougar football. The question would be if the ball carrier's elbow hit, which was pretty tough to see through that traffic of bodies, but the knee was definitely up in the air.
Caleb Hayes came away with it. The arm starts to move right before the elbow hits. They're going to review it, and it can also be the forearm. It's any body part that's not the hand or the bottom of the foot. So any body part down. We focus a lot on the elbow a lot of times.
Correct. And the ground cannot cause a fumble in this situation. So if that forearm or elbow touches before the football comes loose, it will remain SMU football.
Well, Daniels just got suplexed on that play.
Now, this is going to be an interesting situation because at the end of the day, the ruling on the field was called a fumble. So if you keep this SMU football, there's going to have to be indisputable video evidence without any doubt for this to get reversed.
And I think this will be the best angle to see whether or not the ball was loose before. And I don't have it as loose. I've got that as coming out after he hit the ground. What's your thought?
I agree 100%. I think that ball is secure. It comes loose as soon as the forearm makes contact with the ground. And by rule, that would remain SMU's football. It's really a bang-bang type play, but sometimes replay gets a bad rap, slows down the game, kills some momentum, but this is definitely a situation in a tie ball game, a bowl game that means a lot to both programs. This is a call you're definitely going to want to take your time on and get it right. When the screen is frozen, possession is...
The runner's elbow was down prior to the ball coming out. It will be 1st and 10. SMU.
Well, there you have it.
Yep.
We got one right. How about that?
Is that the first one you got right all year?
I don't think the odds have been in our favor. Listen, I don't really keep track. You know, I have a short-term memory. But it's good to get one right with you.
It's good. Thanks for letting me pinch hit tonight. Mar Wheaton in a tailback. This drive started with an SMU interception. Club takeaway was partying on the SMU sideline. This is Wheaton. Started his career at Alabama. Transferred to SMU. He said, you know, my time as a At Alabama, he was out with a torn meniscus the week before the opener last year. I learned the standard. At Alabama, you're 20 minutes early to everything. There is talent everywhere, and Wheaton was part of that talent. He was a 5-star recruit and the #2 running back in the state of Texas. And how about this? Coming the other way is BYU, taken away by Bywater, and he will take it to the house. Give me the football and 75 yards on the return for Bywater.
What a play by the sophomore Ben Bywater. Recognizes that SMU's just trying to play fast and flip one of those quick little smoke throws out to the side. You can call it a quick bubble screen. Reads it perfectly, jumps it, and takes it for 6 the other way.
Bywater with his 3rd pick of the season. A linebacking core that's down numerous players. Bywater was the leading tackler last year. What a play to turn this thing around.
Great recognition of what SMU was trying to do, making a play for your team and getting the momentum back to the BYU sideline.
Point after is good. Ben Bywater in coverage reads it all the way and takes it officially 76 yards the other way. And now it's BYU in front by 7. Balloons lift off the ground at Balloon Fiesta Park. The 51st event takes place next October 7th through 15th, 2023. First ever pick 6 in New Mexico Bowl history. Gives BYU the lead, 17-10. No return on this kick. Time to take a look at tonight's playbook, brought to you by New Mexico Tourism.
Gage Haskin and Roger Daniels Jr. right at the point of attack for the SMU Mustangs. They need to secure the line of scrimmage with Ben Bywater. They need to double team this block to secure the throw for Tanner Mordecai and then work the double team up to the cornerback that's about 7 yards off the ball. Instead, Haskin whiffs on the block. Ben Bywater does a tremendous job of recognizing the play, jumping the football, and making a huge football play for his team.
Here's Moochie Dixon on the jet sweep, picks up just 2. On a cold night with temperatures now in the 20s, it's easy to see how defense in a big play like that can give momentum to the BYU side. SMU runs it with Tyler Levine. Gain of 2.
As the temperature drops in this second half, this is certainly going to be a situation where you are going to need to be able to run the football to have success. You need to stay ahead of the sticks. You need to remain in third and manageable, because as the temperature drops, the football is going to become much more harder. It's going to be more slippery and much more difficult to push the football down the field.
SMU 5 of 10 on 3rd downs tonight. Tanner Mordecai to the perimeter, incomplete. To your point, trying to find Jordan Curley, and whether it's the grip of Mordecai or Curley's hands, that one went right off of him.
And that's exactly what temperatures in the 20s can do to a passing attack. Jordan Curley's made that play every single time it's come his way this season. Tanner Mordecai used to throwing a little bit more accurate of a football, but at the end of the day, it hit Jordan's hands. It's a ball he needs to bring in, but you can see how that football being a little more hard, a little more slick, it's more difficult to bring in that reception.
Ryan Buchevsky to punt it away. Hobbs Nyberg to return, named after fictional Roy Hobbs, and we got a flag thrown in, and that was, how about the arm on the back, Judge? Holy smokes. It was a 43-yard punt. That was a 25-yard flag throw.
That was a tremendous toss. I don't know if I've ever seen a better flag thrown. That was outstanding. Love it.
During the kick, holding, number 19, receiving team. That's a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
right, we could show you the hold, but I think seeing this flag fly is even more entertaining.
Look at that toss. Look at that toss. Look at that flag flying across the top of your screen. It must have been an old outfielder for the baseball team.
yeah, maybe he played for the Dukes back in the day. 1st and 10. BYU getting a defensive score to take the lead, and now they run it with Hinckley Rapati. Pardon me, with Christopher Brooks, and he picks up 8. And now you get the feeling that momentum and BYU's style, playing with the lead, they can go a little ground and pound now.
Exactly. This is how they want to play the football game. They want to run the football, beat you with physicality, bleed the clock, limit your possessions if you're the SMU Mustangs. And really, right now, their blueprint is running on all cylinders. Christopher Brooks, great first down run. I talked about his pad level earlier. You really saw it there. When he drops those pads, he's low to the ground, and he runs with some serious power and strength.
Had a loaded running back room. They've been through hosts of guys, and here's a big burst by Brooks again, and another BYU first down. Needed 2, got 11.
That is just clinic outside split zone. And that is what BYU really hangs their hat on. It's the inside zone, it's the outside zone, and then they mix in the split zone component where the tight end or fullback is slashing across the formation to try to pull the linebackers or even create hesitation so that the offensive line for BYU can work their combo blocks up to linebackers with good angles.
So a fresh set of downs for Soldier Mava-Peters, and this BYU offense came in 52nd in the country in the run game. They'll keep it with Hinckley Rapati, and he bursts free. And a little hurdle at the end to pick up another BYU first down on a 19-yard run for the junior out of Downey, California.
Tell you what, BYU's putting on a clinic right now, doing exactly what they want to do. That's run the football, credit the offensive line, the tight ends, but also the receivers. You see Chase Roberts making a big block downfield. Receivers are getting involved. Great game plan by Aaron Roderick and the rest of the offensive staff for the Cougars.
Roderick was a wide receiver at BYU in the late 90s. Had his start on the Utah staff from 2005 to 2016. Where he coached wide receivers, and now the OC here at BYU. Pressure from the edge, they'll run away from it with Rapati. Can't quite find the edge, and he gets cut down after a gain of 2 on a nice play by Ahmad Moses, the freshman out of Arlington, Texas.
Great play by Ahmad Moses coming from the free safety position. True freshman, someone who's really earned his playing time, who earned his starting role in this bowl game. Talking to the staff this week, they just said, listen, he does everything right. He shows up, he practices hard, watches a lot of extra film. He's very cerebral, loves the game, and does everything the right way.
Houston Haymuli is in as a fullback, lined up on the wing on the left side. They'll motion him with Isaac Rex. No frills, straight ahead. Christopher Brooks picks up 5.
Connor Pay, center for the Cougars. Big time block there. Just strong arm the defensive tackle down to the ground.
How much fun was it meeting with Connor Pay yesterday?
Oh my gosh, it was outstanding. Arguably the best interview of the season. It was so entertaining. Belly laughs left and right.
He grew up a BYU fan. His dad played at BYU. He said, yeah, our seats, 3rd row, north end zone, because my dad wanted to watch the game like he watched game film. What scheme are they running? How the blocking holes opening up?
Connor was the best. So direct, very entertaining, great information.
On 3rd and 3, they turn to Christopher Brooks, and he picks up the first down. There was a moment in the Stanford game where BYU ran it on 14 consecutive plays. We asked him, Connor, what was that like? And he said it was the best football. His face, he started blushing. He was laughing. He was giggling.
Before he said anything, he just smiled. Yeah. You know, it's an offensive lineman's dream. Offensive linemen, they don't want to throw the football because when you throw the football, they're going backwards. They're doing pass sets. Offensive linemen want to come off the ball. They want to come at you and run the football. So you could see it. If BYU ran the ball every single play, Nobody would be happier than Connor Pay.
They've run it every play this drive. This time, Iava Peters keeps it for 5.
And you can see why. BYU is creating so much confusion for the SMU linebackers. You see them kind of playing this peekaboo game because you have these speed motions coming across the formation at the snap of the ball. Well, that takes your eyes somewhere. Then you have a slicing tight end or fullback cutting back across the formation. That takes your eyes somewhere. So BYU's doing a tremendous job of creating eye candy for that SMU defense to create hesitation, which is why you see this Cougar offense rolling down the football field running the ball.
2:14 and rolling in the third quarter. And they'll go straight ahead with Brooks again, and we'll see if he got it. If not, it's going to be third and less than a yard.
All right, one of two things is happening here. Either they're just going to pound the football for the first down, get a clean slate, or they know it's 4-down territory. Don't be surprised if you see a play action, try to sneak someone behind the secondary for a pass over the top.
Last time, Iava Peters rolled out and tried to throw it through a pick. 3rd and short. He's under center now. And they will run it and pick up the first down and more. Touchdown, BYU. Christopher Brooks from 22 yards.
Clark Barrington, big offensive guard for the Cougars, captain of the team, semifinalist for the Campbell Trophy, just really sealing that edge with Blake Freeland, creating a great hole for Christopher Brooks. Once Christopher Brooks got through that first level, there was no one there to make the tackle.
5:43 off the clock. Jake Oldroyd. 9 plays on that drive, every single one of them on the ground.
Well, why would you put the football in the air when you could call a run every single play of the possession and end it with a touchdown? Cougars playing exactly.
They turned it on the last third of the season, I should say. They've done it by getting some new guys some opportunities, including Hinckley Rapati, and he's been running behind Christopher Brooks tonight. What a great job by J. Iava Peters getting his first start at quarterback. Meanwhile, the SMU offense has not been able to put it together. Let's get down the field and Taylor.
Tom, you can certainly tell that the SMU offense is starting to feel the pressure after that last series. Came to the sideline, Tanner Mordecai beginning to rally the troops. Keep your head up. Let's go. We got this. A lot of just momentum, trying to get it back. Brock, what do you want to see out of SMU's offense right here?
I think at this point in the game, down 14, approaching the fourth quarter, it's time to put the ball in Tanner Mordecai's hands. Let him sling it. It's his final college game. You came into this game with the 6th best passing attack in the country. Put the game in Tanner's hands.
And he will throw it on first down. They go to the edge, and that's a gain of 8 to Moochie Dixon. The season lows for Mordecai came against Cincinnati. In a loss, he went for 15 of 25 for only 105. Meanwhile, Owen Condon, the senior from Oklahoma City, the Georgia transfer, is injured, the right tackle. Appeared in 14 games for the national champions last year. And they're looking at his right knee. An SMU offensive line that is very thin. Only 2 backups available. Meanwhile, we've got an old-fashioned women's basketball rivalry for you tomorrow afternoon on ABC and the ESPN app, one that dates back to the late 80s. Number 2, Stanford plays host to Tennessee at Maples Pavilion. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Stanford's Haley Jones will be one of the top picks in the WNBA draft, and Tennessee counters with Jordan Houston, they're looking, Volunteers, the Lady Vols, I should say, looking for their first win against a top 25 team this year. On 2nd and 3. Tyler Levine picks up the first down. All right, so what's the balance for SMU putting it in the air versus the ground game?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you can't panic, right? There's still a full quarter to play, and with the tempo SMU plays with, they can find 14 points very quickly. So still remain balanced, but you got to this point by slinging the football around the yard with Tanner Mordecai. Like to see him with the ball in his hands a little bit more as this game moves along.
Levine gets taken down for a loss. Tyler Batty, one of the first Cougars there, along with Lorenzo Faatea, senior out of West Valley, Utah. Quick snap, 4-man rush, 2nd and 12. Mordecai wanted to go deep. Everybody's covered. He dumps it off to Levine. And Levine taken down by the first man. That's Ben Bywater's having a monster game for BYU tonight.
SMU running a 3-man pass concept into the boundary. BYU playing his zone defense. Really no holes in the defense for Tanner Mordecai to throw the football into. Did the next best thing, kept the play alive, checked it down to his running back, and found some positive yards.
This prolific SMU offense has been held to just 10 points through 3 quarters. BYU got the pick 6 from Ben Bywater, took it 76 yards to the house, and then they leaned on the ground game and they pounded it in to take a 14-point lead. We'll return with more of the New Mexico after this message and a word from our ABC station. Romania, a pick 6 for BYU gave them the momentum, and their defense has been sensational tonight, holding SMU's offense, which came in 6th in the country in passing yards, to just 83 through the air to this point.
It's been super impressive what the BYU defense has done thus far. Kalani Sitake made no jokes about it. He said, listen, we're going to be more aggressive. We're going to bring more pressures, play a little more press coverage. Well, it certainly worked for the Cougars tonight.
They drop 8 here. Mordecai going deep down the sideline. It is incomplete. Mochi Dixon. No, it is caught. Dixon's got it at 25, and an SMU first down and a pickup of 35. Mordecai has put it in the air twice in this drive, both for first downs.
And that's what we're used to seeing out of this SMU offense. Tremendous job by the sophomore receiver, Moochie Dixon, going up and making the 50-50 grab over Jacob Robinson.
Levine picks up 4.
That's what SMU's used to. You know, one of the best footballs Tanner Mordecai throws is the go ball down the field. Now, that was a slot fade. That was a big box fade. It was man-to-man coverage. Tanner Mordecai did a tremendous job of recognizing where the best matchup was and took advantage.
Rhett Lashley doesn't understand why they're reviewing it. And at least part of his frustration is that SMU's strength is going tempo. And he feels like they've been interrupted multiple times tonight from having that opportunity.
Certainly, I get it. I mean, you know, the opening play of your series, of your possession, you get a good completion to start your drive, a positive play. Your offense tackle gets hurt. That kills your momentum. Then you find a big throw down the field, get massive momentum. And now this review is certainly cutting into the tempo that SMU wants to play with.
All right, they're saying that previous running play never occurred. That's why Lashley is so upset. They're reviewing the catch on Dixon. Replay official Chris Rape. And the back judge came in after the previous play, saying the buzzer happened before the play occurred.
I understand the frustration by Rhett Lashley, but as you watch the replays go through, in order for it to be a catch, you have to possess the football all the way through the catch, and you can clearly see that Moochie Dixon does not have possession.
The ruling of a catch is confirmed. 1st and 10.
Well, that's how much I know about football.
There's a lot of issues.
Am I wrong? Was that ball not possessed? It's bobbled.
I agree
all the
with
way
you.
down to the ground.
It was bobbled. I also think the idea that they went back a play, claiming that it had been buzzed down before.
I agree with that. I certainly agree with that. But if you're going to review it,
get it right.
You need to make the correct call, and that ball is not possessed through the catch.
SMU needing a break. They're going to run the reverse. Roderick Daniels Jr. ends up stepping out of bounds. That was a long way to go to pick up 4 yards.
SMU back up the line of scrimmage, playing with the tempo that they like. It's where they're comfortable.
Levine straight ahead. And that's going to lead. I did get the first down.
How about that collision in the A-gap? Tyler Levine lowering his shoulder, bringing the boom. Kid's nickname is Bam Bam for a reason. Definitely does not shy away from contact. Love it. He's got the eye black, the cowboy collar, forearm sleeves, the spats on the cleats.
Leading rusher for SMU, and here's Curley. Able to pick up 4.
Number 1, Jordan Curley.
Boy, that's impressive by Jordan Curley. I know it was only a gain of 1, but it looked like there was nowhere to go. He kind of kicked it into another gear.
Rhett Lashley is furious with the BYU defender Jacob Robinson, who just went down. They will tend to Robinson, who's holding his right calf. And there's a lot of intensity now on the SMU sideline. Rhett Lashley not happy that they reviewed the play a few ago. And then trying to keep the tempo going, but slowed down here before a 2nd and 5. With Robinson being tended to by the athletic training staff, we will step away for a timeout. SMU trying to make it a touchdown game here early 4th quarter. 10 in the New Mexico Bowl, just a stunning view. Base of the Sandia Mountains. And here in the Duke City, we've seen our first ever pick 6 in the New Mexico Bowl. Keep BYU the momentum, taking a 2-touchdown lead, and now 65 yards on this drive, 51 through the air for Mordecai. And SMU looking at a 2nd and 5. Levine stacked up. It's a gain of 3. Then Bywater finishes that one off.
You can see Mordecai wants to play fast, wants to get this ball snapped, chirping at his players to get set.
On 3rd down, Levine again stutter stepped and then pushed his way through the hole for the first down.
I'll tell you what, Tyler Levine runs that football hard. If there's not a hole, he's going to make a hole. It looks like he's having fun doing it, too. Love seeing that.
1st and goal for SMU. Levine again. He's in. And Tyler Levine plunges in from 3 yards out, his 10th rushing touchdown of the season. And SMU able to cap that 12-play, 75-yard drive with a score.
Great job by that left side of the offensive line. Tight ends getting involved. Little split zone play. Tyler Levine finding the crease. Getting the Mustangs back in the end zone.
Point after is good, and now SMU will lean on its defense and try to get the ball back from BYU. Tyler Levine muscles his way in. The senior has SMU within a touchdown. Southwestern culture. Among other gifts, Spanish settlers brought the cultural traditions of flamenco in the form of music and dance, and you can experience the city's Hispanic culture at the National Hispanic Cultural Center by witnessing a flamenco performance at Casa Flamenca or Tablao Flamenca Albuquerque within Hotel Albuquerque at Old Town. Or, like us, go to Nob Hill, and there's so much great food here. We get to Matucci's, and we eat Italian.
How great was that joint last night?
It's fantastic. No return on this. Let's get you back to the studio. Here's Kevin Agandi.
Tom, let's get you an update. Lending Tree Bowl, and it's all about Frank Gore Jr. 56 yards to the house 329 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, the most rushing yards in a bowl game in FBS history. He even threw a touchdown. And Southern Miss wins the Lending Tree Bowl 38-24. Frank Gore Jr., have yourself a day. I feel old. Back to you, Tom.
Yeah, you and me both. What a fantastic outing for Southern Miss and Frank Gore Jr. First down for BYU. Soljay Maiava-Peters in his first start, and they go with a little jet sweep. Chase Roberts dives forward for 5. You know, one thing we've seen throughout a lot of bowl games, and Frank Gore's been at Southern Miss now for a couple of years, but opportunities for young players with opt-outs, injuries, the transfer portal, all of that, and the chance to make a difference in your team's game for some guys who hadn't seen a whole lot of snaps during the season.
Absolutely. It's a tremendous opportunity to showcase your talent to your coaches on the game field. There's so many guys that get buried on depth charts, but they're still putting in the time in the weight room, in the film room. And with like a team like BYU that has over 20 players that saw significant playing action this season not playing, it provides that space for the young guys to step up, and you're seeing that at the quarterback position with Soljay Maiava-Peters.
Christopher Brooks picks up a couple.
You can see what BYU's trying to do right now. They're not going to play at a fast clip. They're not going to push the tempo. They got a touchdown lead right now. They've had success running the football tonight. They want to grind down some clock while still staying within a good rhythm.
So that makes this 3rd and 3 huge.
Absolutely. You don't want to send the ball back to SMU right now that just built all that momentum on their last possession, ending with a touchdown.
Here's Brooks. He gets stopped at the line of scrimmage, maybe got one. Huge play for SMU's defense. They feel like they've got the momentum and will force the punt team onto the field. Amon Moses, the freshman out of Mansfield Summit in Arlington, with another huge stop.
What a stop by the SMU defense. That's exactly what you wanted. You wanted a 3-and-out, get the ball back to your offense that's hot right now. They found some momentum. Not gonna lie, I was a little surprised there that I did not see a play action pass by BYU. A little bit of reverse psychology. You knew they were going to come out and run the football. Seemed like it'd be a great opportunity to try to push the ball down the field.
Rico's got a big leg, and he delivers this one all the way down inside the 5. He's been a big weapon, 67-yarder, but a touchback. SMU will have a long field, trailing by a touchdown, 10:24 to go in regulation in Albuquerque. Houston. Tanner Mordecai threw 9 touchdowns in the first half. Tight end Ben Redding had 3 of those catches in the first half. Clayton Tune for Houston was magnificent as well. Those two combined to rewrite the record books. SMU scored 77 points in that game. Mordecai threw for 379. He also had a touchdown run to account for 10 on the day. And you were talking to Lashley, and you said it must have felt like the perfect game. He said, no, it wasn't perfect. We actually punted once.
I remember after that game, the first time I saw the score, looking at the ESPN app after we called our game, I was like, is it basketball season already? I couldn't believe the score.
They'll keep it on the ground here with Kamar Wheaton. The numbers after the game just look like video game numbers. The points are the most in regulation in FBS history. Quarterbacks combined for 16 passing touchdowns. It's the most in any game in NCAA history. It's an SMU record for points and touchdowns, and Mordecai set a record not only for the school, but also in the conference with 9 passing touchdowns.
Tanner Mordecai was great yesterday visiting with them. I was asking about, hey, what did it feel like? And he goes, hey, you know what it feels like. It's like whenever you throw the ball, and no, I don't know what it feels like. I've never thrown 9 touchdowns in a football game.
I thought his perfect comp, though, was like, well, you play golf, right? It's like having your best round of golf. Yeah. Everything went right for him.
That's what he was saying. It's that day when you just pull the club back. No matter what you do, it goes right. I thought it was a good description.
Injured BYU player is Lorenzo Fau-Atea. Sociology grad, the senior out of Hunter High School. Injured last year, only played in 5 games. And he's their tackle for loss and sack leader this year. SMU now looking at a 2nd and 7. What do you like from a play calling standpoint?
Well, 2nd and 7, I want to get into 3rd and manageable. And what you've done with your ground game in the second half, even the first half for that matter, especially with Tyler Levine, who's not on the field right now, I would say run the football and get yourself in 3rd and manageable. You have a different back on the field.
And they'll do that. And do it with Roderick Daniels out of the backfield, and he's able to pick up the first down.
Well, why would you get yourself in 3rd and manageable if you can just pick up the first down, right? So just great run there, great play call. Daniels Jr., he can really do it all. He can play running back. He can do the speed sweeps. He's played receiver tonight. Very versatile player for the SMU Mustangs.
Used more as a ball carrier the final 2 games. And again on this drive, runs through the first tackle, tries to find the edge, and gets ridden out of bounds after a 1-yard gain. Gabe Judy Lally, the transfer out of Vanderbilt, with the stop.
Yeah, and you just hit the nail on the head. Roderick Daniels Jr. primarily played running back this year, but with Rashee Rice and Dylan Goffney not playing in the starting lineup tonight for the SMU Mustangs, really needed to fill in that wide receiver void.
He'll take a play off. Carter Campbell enters at his wide receiver spot. Levine in the backfield. Campbell is open. Mordecai Wade now goes to him. And he's able to take it up to the 36-yard line and pick up a 5.
Really impressed with Tanner Mordecai, right? You know, he's used to pushing the football down the field, having explosive plays. They're a top 15 team in the country in that category. But it's been tough sledding going against this Cougars defense tonight. But he stayed patient. He spread the football around. He trusts his footwork. He trusts his progressions. He's not afraid to check the football down. And he's picked up good yards doing that.
Third and 5, 5-man rush. They go across the middle, and that's good for a first down. It's Roderick Daniels Jr.
How about that by Tanner? Started on the top of your screen, working a 2-man combination to that side. Doesn't like what he sees. Comes back to Daniels Jr. on the inside slant. Great composure by Tanner Mordecai.
Levine. And he pushes his way to a gain of nearly 9. Marcus Bryant able to clear the way for him, pulling from the left side of the line. 8:15 and rolling, 7-point deficit. Levine again. They'll have a marked, looks like a first down from here. And indeed, they'll wave him for a first down. SMU going trips right.
Formation into the boundary, 3 receivers to the top of your screen. Definitely puts stress on a defense. You're really flooding a zone. Now with the running back shifting over, you have 4 to one side.
And they'll run it to the left. Levine, they'll stiff arm, and it gets taken down. 2-yard gain.
Micah Harper flying in there from his strong safety position. Redshirt freshman out of Chandler, Arizona. Really can do it all for this defense. Not afraid to stick his nose in the box, make tackles. He blitzes off the edge. He can play coverage, play corner, can play nickel, can play safety. Really versatile player for the Cougars.
Back to the ground game. And Roderick Daniels Jr. picks up 7. Harper, freshman out of Chandler, Arizona, started the last 8 games at strong safety. That Kenny played Hawaii, 10th play of the drive, and they'll run it with Daniels and pick up another first down.
His teammates have nicknamed him the Honey Badger after Tyrann Mathieu, just because of that versatility that he can do. Like I said, he can blitz. He can borderline play the linebacker position. He's not afraid to stick his nose in the box, make tackles in the A and B gaps. Now he's blitzing off the edge.
Daniels again. And he slices away for a gain of 7 down to the field. Here's Taylor.
Running back Tyler Levine limping off after that last play by him into the tent right now. I'll keep you posted on what I know and when he comes out, Tom.
All right, thank you, Taylor. On this drive, 9 runs, 2 passes for Mordecai. Kamar Wheaton in at tailback now. Here's Wheaton, and he gets hauled down for a loss of 1. It's John Nelson. Speaking of SMU injuries, Owen Condon had returned to the field at right tackle, and Marcus Bryant is really laboring out there at left tackle now.
Great play there by John Nelson, getting off the block by Owen Condon.
Big third down, 3rd and 4. And they'll run it. And Wheaton picks up a few. Pepe Tamuvasa is there, and obviously 4-down territory for SMU.
Yeah, SMU's in a sticky situation right now. They said to us yesterday, anytime we get to about the 25-yard line, we're good with kicking field goals. But with only about 5 minutes to go in this ball game, you don't know if this is your last possession. I think this is a great call by Coach Lashley here to go for it on 4th down.
14th play of the drive. Pressure coming. Mordecai backpedaling, taken down, and he slings it. And they'll roll him down in a sack by Aiden Tofa.
And that is the Kalani Sitake fingerprint on this defense since he took over play calling. He said he was going to do it tonight. He wanted to play more aggressive. Right there, bringing a pressure on 4th down, forcing Tanner Mordecai to really throw it to nowhere. He had nowhere to go with the football. And that's what Kalani Sitake wants to do. He wants to be aggressive, put pressure on the quarterbacks. Did a tremendous job there with his 4th down play call. Tanner Mordecai had nowhere to go with the ball.
The BYU run game,
which has really been unstoppable since the beginning of this game. The BYU Cougars rushing for over 200 yards thus far. Soljay Maiava-Peters making his first career start, getting in the end zone on the first possession of the game, creeping in on 100 yards. Then you got Christopher Brooks, the physical, tough runner inside, once again approaching 100 yards as well. SMU just has not had an answer for this BYU Cougar run game tonight. It's been impressive. You know, BYU, they didn't kid around. They said, hey, we're going to come in. We're going to try to assert physicality. SMU knew it, and they just haven't been able to stop it tonight.
Here's the quarterback keeping it, Soljay Maiava-Peters, and he picks up 2. The SMU defense came up with a big stop last time BYU had the ball. Stopped them on a 3rd and 3.
They certainly did, but this is where, if you're BYU, you need to lean on that offensive line, led by left tackle, All-American Blake Freeland. And you're in 4-minute offense. You need to run to win this football game.
Freeland accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl.
See BYU huddling up. They're going to melt the clock down. They're going to really try to snap this ball anywhere under 3 seconds.
And they do just that. Rapati, no gain. It's a 3rd and 8 coming up. SMU stopped him on a 3rd and 3 last time.
So now Aaron Roderick and Kalani Sitake, guarantee you they're on the headsets having a conversation. Do you run the football? Do you do the safe thing with your quarterback who's making his first career start? Hand the football off, lean on your offensive line.
17 left in regulation. And while they tend to Moses, we'll remind you that immediately after the game, it's the Capital One post-game show. You can check out the ESPN app. Get that fired up for the trophy presentation as soon as we are finished here in Albuquerque. Nelson Paul is underneath Ahmad Moses. It doesn't look like Paul is injured right now, but it's Moses who's getting all the attention from the athletic training staff. Well, Paul is on his feet, but Moses remains down on the ground. Well, it's a great sign that Ahmad Moses got to his feet. He's helped off in the field by Brian Massey. Moses, originally committed to Texas San Antonio, ends up on the hilltop, and he has made some huge third down stops tonight. And now they'll punt it away on 4th and 3. Now, Ryan Rico has shown a monster leg all night. He holds a school record at BYU. He had an 83-yarder against Arizona State earlier. Gets rid of this one clean and trying to place it. He'll take a BYU hop. And he avoided the touchback, and it's going to roll down to about the 12 or 13. A 42-yard punt that time. 3:02 remaining for this SMU offense led by Tanner Mordecai. What kind of confidence can they take from the last drive, even though they weren't able to cash in on?
They can take away a lot of confidence. Right now, you really have anything at your disposal. You came into this football game being one of the best aerial attacks in college football, but what you've shown tonight is you also have the ability to move the football down the field by running. Last series, they did just that. Got down in the red zone, stalled a little bit, but with 3 minutes to go in this game, you have your full playbook at your disposal. You can run the football, you can throw the football, you can work your screen game.
Tyler Levine back in the game at running back. Mordecai pressured, finds Levine. Levine with a stiff arm takes it to the 20. Pickup of 8.
Great play by Mordecai. He just got that pocket, really started to suffocate him and became a phone booth. Defensive front for the Cougars got a great push. Tanner couldn't find anything downfield. Find his running back, his check down. Great positive yards on first down.
Couple timeouts remaining for SMU. They'll run it straight ahead. A big time stop will leave 3rd and 1. Micah Harper, the freshman, came up there to lay the wood on Levine. It does not look 100%. 3rd and 1 now. Levine again, needed one. Don't think he got it.
That's clearly short. Tell you what a stop by the big fellas up front. Gabe Summers inside. Earl Mariner.
So here we go, 4th and 1. Levine is still in the game in the backfield. They're going under center and out of the eye. And they go with the jet sweep. They need a yard. And he just got it by a foot. It was Austin Upshaw who turned upfield just in time, and the drive continues for SMU down 7.
What an effort by the captain, Austin Upshaw. First contact was behind the line to gain, lowers that shoulder, finds a way. Was not going to be stopped on that 4th down.
Mordecai out of the backfield has Levine. Lowers his shoulder, and he gets taken down after a pickup of 5. 2nd and 5 coming up. 1:19 and rolling. And an injured offensive lineman, Justin Osborne, is down for SMU. Osborne is an Auburn transfer out of Flower Mound, Texas, was 2nd team All-American Conference this year.
Tell you what, Tanner Mordecai doing a great job of just taking what the defense has given him. Right now, the BYU Cougars understand the situation. Up by 7. They're defending 72 yards of field right now, so they're going to play a soft zone. Tanner doesn't have a lot of windows to throw the football down the field into, so he's taking the checkdowns. He's getting positive yards. But somewhere along this line, he will need to find a way to get some chunk plays, get some explosive plays to get his team in the end zone.
They'll help Osborne off. They've had injuries to Bryant and Condon over the course of this game, both tackles.
Both outside receivers, Moochie Dixon and Jordan Curley. World-class track speed. You got a tight end, R.J. Maryland inside. Tough matchup in the slot at the top of your screen. Kind of that hybrid tight end.
Three-man rush. BYU drops 8. Mordecai near side. Caught by Daniels. And they'll move the chain, say it's a first down. Minute 5 to play.
In these situations, when BYU is going to play a soft zone coverage, I'm going to look for one of my bigger targets. Right now, that's number 1, Jordan Curley, or 82, R.J. Maryland, the tight end, so I can throw over guys into windows.
Oh, there's Curley. Fantastic grab. And SMU first down again, I believe. 57 seconds left. And they're going to say he's just short. So 2nd and 1. Tanner Mordecai looking at a drop 8 again. And he's able to sling it into R.J. Maryland. That's good for a first down. 51 seconds remaining.
BYU playing a soft cover 2 defense, meaning there's 2 safeties deep. They're covering both deep half fields. If they keep doing that, SMU is going to need to attack the middle of the field.
Came with a safety blitz. Curley gets out of bounds after a pickup of 3. Remember, the Mustangs have a pair of timeouts left.
41 seconds, 2 timeouts, plenty of time to throw the football anywhere you want. Remember, in college football, if you pick up a first down, the clock stops. You can get up, either spike it, get a play off without much clock rolling off the scoreboard.
It's taken them 10 plays to get just past midfield. Looking for a double pass here. Now they'll run it with Opshaw, and he scrambles out of bounds. It took a little while to develop, and they only gained 1 yard. 34 seconds left.
Interesting play call in that situation. BYU not taking the bait. They're not going to run up on a bubble screen. They're going to say, hey, SMU, you throw that bubble screen all day. The clock's ticking. We're not going to take the bait and let you get behind us. Interesting play call by the SMU Mustangs.
3rd and 6. Mordecai pressured. Trying to fit it over the zone. Instead, he goes to his nearest receiver. That's Upshaw. Pickup of 14. 26 ticks left.
BYU bringing some pressure to the field. Still playing a cover 3 defense. SMU had 4 verts on that play. There were some shots in the seams for Tanner Mordecai. Didn't see it clearly.
Mordecai over the down the sideline. That's caught by Daniels. And another SMU first down, a pickup of 22. And a timeout taken by Rhett Lashley and the Mustangs. 20 seconds left in regulation.
Now that's what Rhett Lashley and Casey Woods do. Tremendous play design. BYU playing that cover 3 defense again. Rhett Lashley creating an overload into that cover 3. Cornerback's gone. Daniels Jr. replaces that cornerback. There's no one there for him. Great play call by Rhett Lashley and Casey Woods.
Daniels was injured at the tail end of the play. We'll see if he can stay in the game.
So you can see the overload right there. The cornerback has to run with Austin Upshaw up the field. There's no one else in that window about 15 yards down the field. Great play design by the SMU Mustangs.
Ben Bywater had to play the game for BYU's defense. Now they need another big one. A simple stop would win the game. 1st and 10, 20 seconds to play. Mustangs 1 timeout.
Well, right now you got to read between the lines. Kalani Sitake hiring Jay Hill. Both of those 2 being under Kyle Whittingham at Utah all those years. I would be shocked to see. I'd be surprised if BYU does not bring pressure in this situation. That will be their DNA moving forward.
They shift and will empty the backfield. 5 wide for Tanner Mordecai. Mordecai looking in zone. And now we'll throw it away. They're trying to set up a screen to the near side into Jordan Curley. 14 seconds left.
Kalani Sitake saying last night, said it's in my blood to be aggressive.
And would that have been a great play call against pressure?
A screen? The perfect play call. So right now you have the chess match, right? And Kalani knows that. So over there, Rhett Lashley's probably thinking, hey, pressure's coming. I'm going to dial up a screenplay, which is the perfect call.
They threw a flag, ostensibly for intentional grounding, and Mordecai is pointing out I had Curley right there.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Number 1 was in the area.
And they'll pick it up and clean up the flag. Daniels back on the field for SMU.
SMU formation to the boundary.
Mordecai fires in zone. Caught! Curley! Touchdown SMU! SMU's going to go for 2 and go for the win.
Great play designed by Rhett Lashley, running a double post concept into quarters defense. BYU driving down on Roderick Daniels Jr. on the inside post, which leaves Jordan Curley one-on-one outside, winning on the outside post.
SMU will take a timeout and have time to think about it. They are 0 for 3 on 2-point attempts this season. We started this broadcast by showing the 1980 Holiday Bowl, the Miracle Bowl. Jim McMahon and BYU knocked off Pony Express. It was an extra point that won it with no time left on the clock. We're down to 8 seconds here, and SMU deciding whether or not to go for it. Here's your play.
What else would we expect tonight? Like I said before, great play design by Rhett Lashley and Casey Woods. The perfect play call in the coverage. You can see the defense right there driving down inside of the slot receiver, Roderick Daniels Jr., number 13, on the inside bender post, which leaves Jordan Curley outside one-on-one. Goes over the top over Caleb Hayes.
Curley may have gotten the wind knocked out of him when he came down. So once again, give me a 2-point play here for SMU.
Boy, I think you need to go with the hot hand, and right now that's Jordan Curley. He either needs to be involved, or I think you do need to look at tight end R.J. Maryland. Big 6'4" target, has a tremendous season. He has 6 touchdowns on the year, a lot of those coming from the red zone.
Yeah, Curley not on the field after leaving after the touchdown catch.
R.J. Maryland at the bottom of your screen.
BYU uses a timeout. Curley was on the sideline. It looks like he's ready to re-enter after catching his breath, but he's got a trainer right in his hip pocket. If you're an offensive coordinator, you just had your number 1 2-point conversion play picked out. Do you change from that, or you stick with the play call you just had?
No, I don't. And I think the biggest thing here is, if I'm a coordinator, I'm going to give my quarterback a coverage indicator, meaning I need to do something with my formation that forces BYU to tell me if it's man or zone. And
a shift or a motion.
Exactly. Or you line a running back up out at wide receiver or tight end. You see who matches up with them. That will tell you if it's man or zone. And then at that point, you have 2 plays called in the huddle, and you're either running the man beater or the zone beater, but you need to have an option for both plays, because you don't know what BYU is going to do here. BYU might play man, bring pressure, bring the house, or they might drop back in zone like they have primarily on this entire drive.
2 tight ends, Maryland and Haskin, in for SMU. Here's the game. 8 seconds to play and 2 points for the lead. And BYU uses another timeout.
You love the chess match. And here's the interesting thing. You only have 2, max 3 plays made for 2-point plays on your call sheet.
Yeah.
So now you're starting to get through that call sheet, and you're looking and you're saying, okay, what's next? Do I go back to something I maybe called 1 or 2 timeouts ago? Interesting situation. You don't have many play calls for 2-point plays.
That obviously, with the shift that they had to bring an offensive lineman to the near side, was not the very first play that they had. So you can go back to your number 1.
That's it. I agree. And like I said, you know, when you build your quadrants as an offensive coordinator on your call sheet, you know, you have your goal line plays, which usually you have about 2 to 3, and then same deal for 2-point plays. You have 2 to 3. So really, you have about 5 to 6 plays at your disposal from this distance. Be interesting to see what SMU goes with.
Still no Curley on the field that I can see from here. And they'll have the 2 tight ends still in the game. SMU hasn't converted a 2-point attempt this season. Same design as last time. Mordecai on the draw. He stopped. SMU stops him. Probably BYU does. It's Jacob Robinson with the play of the game for the Cougars. Eight seconds still remain. SMU will have a chance at an onside kick.
Wow. I know it didn't work for SMU, but I love what Rhett Lashley did. He gave his quarterback an option to throw the quick screen to the boundary if he had numbers. He did not have numbers. He gave his quarterback an option at the top of your screen to throw the one-on-one fade if the numbers were there. Numbers weren't. Next best option was to run the quarterback draw. Big time stop, though, by Jacob Robinson for the BYU Cougars with 8 seconds to go in the ball game.
There's an injured Cougar in the end zone. Looks like Caleb Hayes, the cornerback. And now with 8 seconds on the clock, SMU will try an onside kick. The last successful onside kick for SMU came in September of 2015.
Tanner Mordecai, a lot to be proud of. Team was down 14 points. Start of the fourth. Brought it back to this point. Played his heart out tonight. Tough conditions. Temperature in the 20s. And you can see the excitement over there on the BYU sideline. You knew this bowl game meant a lot to them. Had a 4-game losing streak at one point mid-year during October. I think it really shows the resiliency and the mental toughness of this ball club to turn that around, finish the season with a 3-game win streak.
It's their final game as an independent. BYU will be headed to the Big 12.
Ball needs to go 10 yards before SMU can make contact with the BYU Cougar or snag the football.
BYU uses its final timeout with 8 seconds to play. If BYU is able to hold on and win this game, they'll do it without having completed a pass in the entire second half.
I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. And you know what? You need to give all the credit to that offensive line up there, banging heads all night long, making holes for the running backs, making holes for Soljay Maiava-Peters, quarterback making his first career start. Tell you what, that offensive line and those tight ends, even the receivers for BYU got involved with blocking in the run game. Tremendous effort by the Cougars tonight.
So here's the onside attempt. Colin Rogers will put it in play for SMU. Ball's in the air and out of bounds, and BYU's going to have the ball and get it back in the win column in the bowl season. Kalani Sitake and BYU in their final game as an independent before moving on to the Big 12 with a hard-fought win led by the first-time starter. He's tonight's Capital One player of the game, Soljay Maiava-Peters, who carried the ball 14 times for 96 yards. And in the air, wasn't asked to do a lot.
You know what? I'm really impressed. He played very composed. You could tell he was ready to go. He had tremendous command of the offense all night and really only made one mistake, and that was the turnover on the interception. And for a kid making his first career start, that is a heck of a ball game. He was a leader tonight. He played tough, didn't slide one single time, lowered his shoulder, and really led this football team.
Ben Bywater finished with 11 tackles for BYU and a 76-yard pick six that swung the momentum The Cougars side, Tanner Mordecai will see his career as a Mustang come to an end tonight after being stopped on the two-point conversion. A couple of coaches with great respect for each other, Rhett Lashley and Kalani Sitake. What's the feeling if you're Tanner Mordecai? Let's get down to the sideline. Here's Taylor.
Thanks so much, Coach. SMU calls the two-point conversion.
Yeah.
You have 2 timeouts. What are you saying to your defense in that moment?
Oh, just play the game, man. I don't think anybody expected either defense to show up, and I thought both defenses did a great job, and it was a great game. So happy for our guys. Nothing warms your heart like a win. So really happy for our outgoing players, and looking forward to celebrating and having happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
You mentioned it. Not a lot of people gave defenses credit in this game, and you guys held one of the best passing attacks in the country to limited yards today. How are you able to do it?
Oh, fundamentals, basics. It always goes down to the simple things. Looking forward to these guys, the young guys that played well, seeing what they can do next year. This will be a good step for us in our program.
You wanted to be aggressive defensively. What did you think about the aggressiveness of your team?
I don't know. I thought it could have been more aggressive, but
It's Kalani.
we'll take it.
Sitake, not Sitaki. Sitake.
It's all right. They know who I am.
Soljay Mayava-Peters in his first career start.
Yeah.
What did he show you in this game that gives you confidence that he's going to be a good college football player down the stretch?
The guy's a gamer. He's a hard worker. The whole entire offensive staff put a lot of work into this, and they had a lot of trust in him, and the players rallied around him. So we felt really comfortable with 3 quarterbacks that could play tonight, and it was his night. I'm glad that we got the win.
What does a bowl victory mean to BYU?
Oh, I just love the fact that we got to play another game, and glad that we got the win. The extra practices are vital for our program and our development, and I look forward to getting the spring ball now and doing the offseason, getting the recruiting.
Thanks so much for your time, Coach.
Love you guys.
Tom?
Hey, go figure. Kalani Sitake was on the field in 1997 when these teams last met and won it in overtime in a Cotton Bowl, and he was, as a fullback, on the field for the final play. And another close one between these two programs. Soljay Mayava-Peters leads BYU in his very first start to a 24-23 victory. Defense was the name of the game for both sides. Our final 24-23 BYU over SMU. For Brock Osweiler, Taylor McGregor, our fantastic crew, I'm Tom Hart. Thanks for watching this presentation of college football on ESPN.